And it's true. And that's what I say, like, mathematically speaking. 10 billion years actually isn't enough. Like, mathematically, from a statistical point of view, they look at it and they're like, 10 billion years isn't even enough to describe how unlikely it is to have a mutation, to have a more favorable mutation. Hey guys, I'm Joy. And okay, can you start that again? Sorry. Hey guys, I'm Joy, and I'm a student here at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities, and we're here at the mall. I'm with a group called Revive for Life. We're a new Christian student group here on campus, and basically we're just here to evangelize, just talk to some people about our faith. So yeah, I think we'll have Glory, who's currently on camera, introduce herself, and then we'll get right into the video.
Hi everyone, my name is Glory, a student of University of Minnesota, and we're members of the group called Revive for Life. We're here to preach the gospel, to make Jesus known, to transform lives. I hope you come around, listen to us, know how it's going, and you will be blessed. Thank you.
All right, we're gonna find some people to preach to. Let's go. How's it going? Hi, my name is Joy, and I'm part of the new Christian student group on campus called Revive for Life. And we're wondering if you wanted to be interviewed for our YouTube channel. You're good? Okay, that's fine. Have a good day. Hey, how's it going? Hi, I'm Joy, and I'm part of a new student group on campus called Revive for Life. It's a new Christian group on campus, and we're wondering if you wanted to be interviewed for our YouTube channel. Alright, no. Waiting for someone? Okay. Thanks. Have a good day. Hi, I'm Joy, and we're part of a new student group on campus. Do you care if I talk to you a little bit about our new student group? Yeah, so we're called, thank you so much. We're called, I'm Joy, by the way. This is Glory. It's called Revive for Life. Basically, it's like a new Christian student group on campus. Basically, we have like a new service for people who want to come that's in St. Paul. And then we also have like a Bible study thing that we're doing Sunday nights for people who want to just come and check it out and just see what it's like. But yeah. But basically, our group has this thing called the Good Person Test. Do you care to take the Good Person Test really quick? Sure. Yeah, so it's super simple though. So basically it goes, would you consider yourself to be a good person? You'd say, yeah, that's a good answer. And then it goes, have you ever lied before? Okay. What would you call someone who lies? A liar? Okay. And then it goes, have you ever taken anything that's not yours? Even if it was something super small, like a pen or something? What would you call someone who takes something that's not theirs, steals? Yeah, steal or thief. Yeah. And then it goes, have you ever hated anyone before? Okay. So the Bible says that if you hate someone in your heart, it's like you murdered them. Because it's kind of like you have to hate someone before you murder them. So that's kind of like the mentality behind that. So according to the Good Person Test, by your own admission, you're a liar, thief, and a murderer at heart, which we all are. But we're all gonna die one day, obviously. And if you were to die and face a God of judgment, do you think you'd be innocent or guilty? Was I guilty? Does that concern you at all? No, because stuff, I guess. Okay. Well, what do you think happens when someone dies? And you just go into the earth. Just like the scientific stuff. So would you say that you do believe in God or you don't believe in God? You don't believe in God? What would you say your reason is for not believing in God? I just never really grew around it, and I don't really care to. I mean, I respect other people, but you just never interested in it. But yeah, so I guess my main reason, obviously, other than growing up Christian, well, that my main reason for believing in God is kind of like creation. I'm not sure if you've heard there's called the arguments for God. Like one is from creation, and it talks about we're here at this campus, right? And then you see all these halls and buildings, and it's like, if I tell you that Smith Hall wasn't created by anyone, it just happened, it just appeared here, by random chance or whatever, you would say I'm a liar, because obviously someone had to build. I mean, but there's other. Right. Right, and all that stuff. But my point is, obviously, you see Smith Hall, and obviously made by someone, like you said, resources and all that stuff that goes into it, and they didn't just say, okay, bricks. Like they made a plan, a blueprint, all that stuff to make Smith Hall. and you talk about all the bricks and all the cement and all that stuff that have to go into it. And then you think about life, right? You think about the human body. You think about this tree right here, and all of us here, and you understand like how complicated the human body is. I'm not sure what you study here, obviously, but the human body is so complicated, and there's so many parts of our body that like account for other things. And if this goes wrong, we have this fail safe, and this, like your kidneys can work at 10%, right? So we have all these different complicated parts of our body, and you see other like organisms, like you have the monkeys, you have organisms like bacteria and stuff like that. And the truth is, it's more complicated. Those organisms and the process to get to as complicated as we are is actually more harder to believe that happened by accident than Smith Hall. Like Smith Hall isn't actually as complicated as our human bodies. And so it makes me question, how could something so complicated have happened by accident? You know what I mean?
It really wasn't evolution,
Mm-hmm.
we develop and change with our parents.
Right. And I think about evolution, because I'm sure like you've heard like evolution, there's adaptations, right? And there's it's like we go from one species to another. And it begs the question, it's like, how did we it's kind of convenient if you think about it. Like I'm not sure if you've heard, like mathematically speaking, just the favorable mutations that had to take place for us to get here. And they had to accumulate, right? You had to maintain those favorable mutations. So the chances of having a mutation is already rare. Then the chances of having a favorable mutation, even more rare. The chances of accumulating those mutations and not losing them in the process of becoming. And so it's almost like you have to have faith in the science. And the science keeps changing, right? We discover new things that we're like, oh, and then you're filling in the gaps, which makes sense. You observe, you learn things. That's science, the scientific method. But we can't use the scientific method on things that happened 10 billion years ago, 4.5 billion years ago. And we can rely on those things, and we can put our faith in those things, and we can put our faith in the science that keeps changing every day. Like you can't read a science book that's 5 years old because it's completely outdated, right? Because all the science keeps changing. But the thing about the Bible was written like around 2,000 years ago, and it hasn't changed. And all the Bible isn't a science book. It's not a history book. It's a book about God, but it does have science in it, and it does have history in it. And the historical details that are in the Bible, the scientific details that are in the Bible, they haven't changed. The Bible talks about how the world is a circle, and we didn't realize that until how long ago? Like it's you have to wrestle with it a little bit, and so you can't really put your complete trust like, okay, science has proven everything, boom, boom. Like they're all theories because we.
Yeah, that's a very good one, right? But then I think if the Bible is unchanging, if it's remain the word of God, unlike science that keeps changing, personally, if I'm asked that's between what is changing and what is not changing, I would like to go for what is not changing, because since it has proved the test of time, then I hope to rely on it, and then I think I will be safe, right?
So a question I have is, then why don't animals display the same things that we do? Because like animals don't have emotions like that. They don't have feelings. They don't have drive. For example, they respond to stimuli, right? But we don't perceive food, and we like certain foods, and we don't like other certain foods. And you can say that shows how advanced we are. Like in our minds, we're so advanced. But that actually isn't very advanced to say, I like peanuts and you don't. That's not very advanced. I have no reason. Why don't I like peanuts? I don't know. I just don't like the taste of them. You know what I mean? But squirrels aren't like that, or other animals aren't like that. They'll eat whatever they see, or they like this. And all of those animals display those same characteristics. But when you look at the human species, we're not all the same. Like we all have different drives. We all have different things. We respond to things differently. And maybe one person you smile at me, I'll smile back. Another person you smile at them, they're like, what are you looking at me for? You know what I mean? 100 different genetic factors and environmental factors, psychological factors that can affect how a person is raised. It's hard to raise a child like that. Like I'm going to chart all these 300 different factors that I have to get right to make sure my child turns out right. Our moral code to you, if I ask you, is murder wrong? We say yes. Is it wrong to sexually assault a person? Yes. And we all have these same similar moral codes, and it's almost like we kind of know, like even a child, they know if you shouldn't take cookies from a cookie jar, they feel like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. So where do we get that from? Complex to understand that murder is wrong. Do you think that's a complex concept? So where do we get that from? Why is it so simple? Like you talk about how it's complex, how we have different societies that believe the same thing, but yet we're talking together and we understand these things are wrong, and you can't even describe it. It's so simple. So what is that ingrained thing in us that we just know that this is wrong? Even a child, like you don't socially educate children. lying is wrong, lying, don't lie, don't steal. Like they just, you know, you can just know, like, oh, I feel bad. Like, what is that feeling? Biology, there's some biological species who their whole thing is they eat, they reproduce, and then they die immediately. And they know that's their life cycle. That's success for them. That's a successful life cycle. They didn't die before they could reproduce. And so why is success for us defined differently? Why do we dread death as the end? It's actually contrary to evolution. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, we could go back and forth, right? You could keep going back and forth forever, but I guess for our group and kind of the thing that we think about is you kind of have to make up your mind what you want to have faith in. We can have faith in the fact that all of these evolutionary things that we see today happen by accident, and we're so lucky to be alive right now. We're so lucky to be humans. We could have been monkeys right now, but we're not. So that's great. But yeah, have a good one.